How's it going, guys? John the Basic Expert here, and in this video I wanted to do a viewer requested video. This is something I haven't really done in a while, if at all. So I love seeing that you guys that monetarily support the channel tell me what kind of content you want to see. I love it. So if you're on Gilded or Subscribestar or here on YouTube, please tell me what kind of content you want to see, and I'd be happy to make a video about it. Making content you want to see makes my life easier. This is from a supporter named Mr. Steve K 1138, and he says, "I'd like your take on Zero-E magic, including the spell complexity chart in Chainmail. My wife, who once played a magic user, liked my house rule of read magic being an inherent ability instead of a spell. She still had to choose to cast spells from scrolls or save them to attempt to learn new spells chart. So I've heard of people that use the read magic as like an innate ability of the magic user, as opposed to making it a spell they have to prepare and cast. Mostly because I think they don't want players to feel duped or cheated, or they want them to have that cool moment at level 1 when they cast that single spell slot and it's not read magic. I personally make you prep read magic. I don't give it in my games as an innate ability, but I get why people do it. For me, what I do is I give you all the level 1 spells as a level 1 magic user. My thinking is that leaving your apprenticeship or your school of magic or whatever it is that you've learned magic from, your mentor or whoever it is that you learned under would give you all the level 1 spells, and you could therefore, it's on you to learn anything beyond that. He taught you everything that you're able to learn at level 1. You have all the spells at level 1. You can move on from there. So read magic, you might be able to learn level 2 spells, but maybe you find the scroll and you want to just bring that back, and you can prep read magic in downtime and cast it in order to learn a spell. That's generally just how I personally handle it. As for the spell complexity chart, I'll have it up behind me over here. It's a 2d6 roll. For those of you that out there that are not familiar with it, it's a 2d6 roll based on the various levels of the magic user that there's going to be. There's Seer, Magician, Warlock, Sorcerer, and Wizard. And these actually align with various levels of the magic user. That is, the Seer is level 2. Let me look at this here. Seer is level 2. Magician is level 6. So you're going to have a boost at level 6. The Warlock is level 8. And then the Sorcerer is level 9, and then Wizard is level 11. And so you can see that these numbers have an IDN. So I is spell immediately takes effect, D is spell delayed until next turn, N is spell negated or otherwise non-effective. Personally, I just like, not that I don't like roll to cast, but the resource management of spell slots is already enough, in my opinion, to lay on player characters. I think roll to cast is cool, especially if you give it like funky outcomes on a failure, which Chainmail doesn't do, but something like Dungeon Crawl Classic does, which is interesting because a lot of people think Dungeon Crawl Classics is like the first one to have roll to cast in a lot of instances. I've seen people make that claim. It's actually Chainmail. But I don't use it personally because it just doesn't fit with the vibe of the game that personally appeals to me. If we look at some spells, if we want to talk about magic and Zero-E, for me personally, let's look at the sleep spell as an example. So sleep is incredibly powerful, but there is almost a roll to cast element to it. So it says a sleep spell affects from 2 to 16 first level types, from 2 to 12 second level types, and from 1 to 3 third level types, and but 1 fourth level type. So what we have here is at 2 to 16. What does that mean? You're going to roll a d10 plus a d6. That's how you get that number. And to me, actually, side note, I'm going to go off on these tangents as I talk about this kind of stuff. To me, this is something that shows that Zero-E really wants to push you towards the alternative combat system, because it already lists all the new platonic dice beyond a d6 that you're going to be using in this game. And right here in the spell, it's clearly telling you to roll for the 2 to 16 numbers. That's telling you to roll a d10 plus a d6. So you're already using this platonic dice. If you're using these platonic dice in the spells, I would assume you're using them in the alternative combat system. That's really what Gary wants you to do. And I think that this is evidenced by the fact that this is the way Greyhawk would officially go. So we've moved beyond the D6 system of of chainmail, and we're using these new platonic dice that are not inherent to chainmail. But we can see from here that it's already has a roll to cast element. So you're going to roll it for level 1. Let's say you encounter some kobolds. I'll roll that here. And I'm going to roll a d10 plus a d6, and I rolled a 15. Like, that's awesome. I rolled a 10 on the tens die and 5 on the d6. It's really great. So there's that roll to cast element. That's going to feel incredible. I knock out like all of the goblins or most of them, especially if we encounter a lot. That's going to make the whole party's life a lot easier. But there could be a chance where I roll something lower, like right here I just rolled an 8. So to me, there's like a roll to cast element where already in some of these spells that already occur, and with saving throws, you already kind of off-put the roll to cast on the saving throw. And so for me, it feels a little bit redundant, and I like making the players feel like they're powerful. So just having the roll to cast be on the save or in the number affected or things like that is enough for me personally, that I don't use the spell complexity chart from Chainmail. And it's optional in Chainmail too. It's optional in Chainmail, which means to me it's obviously optional in 0E. So that's my take on it. I think it's cool though. I think that you could easily apply this table over here. You could easily apply this table to your 0E game or some other game because it aligns perfectly with a magic user. The table has 6 levels of spells, and magic users have 6 levels of spells. Clerics have 5. But, you know, this is the other thing too, is that clerics aren't on here, but they have spells as well. So how do you apply roll to cast to clerics? Do you just give it to clerics and you make magic users roll? This is one of those things where I was like, when I was making White Box, I ultimately decided not to include this because it would end up in me, in what I do, I call like, you know, gaming archaeology. It would be me adding a bit too much of guesswork and essentially homebrew into White Box, and I didn't want to do that. So I was trying to minimize that to as much as possible. So I didn't include it because it just didn't fit. Fit the design goals that I had for it. But yeah, that's my take on Chainmail with its roll to cast. I think it could easily be imported into your 0E game or White Box game over the top, at least on magic users. You might have to do some homebrewing to make it work for clerics, because I feel like if it applies to magic users, it needs to apply to clerics as well. That would be my only fair thing I think I would try and do as well. But I guess it's off balance by most clerical spells are utilitarian in nature. They're not offensive, and magic users have a lot of offensive spells, which makes roll to cast, I guess, make a little bit more sense. But yeah, it's cool. I would love to hear your stories in the comments below of anyone else out there that has maybe used roll to cast or spell complexity tables in their Chainmail games. I'd love to see how that worked out for you. Did it feel like a little over redundant and maybe too much rolling when you applied it to 0E, because you already have a lot of saving throws, you already have a lot of, again, like the sleep spell throws to determine how many hit die of creatures are affected, and so on and so forth. So I'd love to hear your comments about that below. If you like this kind of content, like, subscribe, share the video, helps the channel out, helps me make more content like this. If you want to support like Mr. Steve, you're welcome to. I'd love for that to happen. You get access to a fortnightly little one-page dungeon map or supplement or something like that. You also, that's at the $1 tier. At the $3 tier, you get the quarterly zine that I do. You get the PDF of that, as well as a link to Lulu for at-cost print of the physical zine, which only supporters get access to the physical zine. Everyone else, all the other peasants, get the PDF only. And if you support at $5 or more, you get all of that previous stuff. Plus, whenever I release big things, like big games or projects that I'm working on, you get the PDF for that for free, included with that membership. So it means a lot to me to support my channel and what I do here. I'd love to devote more time to this channel, and you guys supporting it monetarily like that really helps me be able to do that and to talk about games more, hopefully in an enlightening manner, in ways that not many other people in the hobby and especially in the YouTube sphere are talking about. I hope at least. So thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.